Hey everybody, it's Bill again, and I'm with my favorite lender, and that is Samantha.
Great to see you guys again. We hadn't done this in a minute.
Yeah, we haven't done one in a long time, which is shame on me because you're such a valuable asset to my clients, and I want to put you out in front of everybody as much as I can because you do such a wonderful job. And we're going to sit here and quickly get into kind of a interesting discussion about depreciation, interest rates, and some other stuff.
This is an important message because right now I keep hearing people say, well, I'm waiting on the market to crash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting on prices to drop. I'm waiting on interest rates to drop.
Right.
And, there's a really historic reality to prices dropping. It really doesn't happen like people think it does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't see the $300,000 house this year all of a sudden turn into a $200,000 house next year.
No.
What we see is instead of it being a $330,000 house next year, maybe it's only a $315,000 house next year.
If that. Mm-hmm.
So as we're seeing rates go up, we see the increase level off, but we're not seeing a decrease. And I think that's the important distinction.
Right. I think a lot of people think there's going to be this massive crash in prices, that we saw in '08, but that is not what's going to happen.
But even in '08 here, we didn't see prices drop. We saw prices stop increasing.
There you go.
Before the pandemic, we were sitting at like 5-6% interest, and we were still having 7 to 10% appreciation a year, right? So we were going up. We saw rates drop down to the 2s, and we saw our appreciation go up to like 25%, right?
Right.
Well, now that we're back up, rates are up again, we may only see appreciation at what? What do you think appreciation is at this year?
Yeah, I think the appreciation is going to be in single digits for a little while. So we're not going to see 20% anytime soon. But are we going to see negative depreciation or depreciation instead of appreciation, and therefore negative? And I want to tell you no.
I think especially in our area.
Yeah.
We're pretty well insulated in Central Texas. Rates are a little higher than I'd like to see them. I think once the economy kind of normalizes, we'll see them come down. If you're subject to having your heart broken, I'm going to break it right here. I don't think we're going to be back in the 2s. I think we're not going to see that again. I'm doubtful we're going to see 3s. I'd like to see us back between 4 and 6.
If we got back in the 6s, I mean that's normal.
It is, and as we see rates start to come down, I mean, I don't want to quote like a rate right now because I don't have all my little disclaimers.
You're right.
But as we see rates start to come down a couple of percent, we're also going to have more people entering the market.
Right. So back to the supply and the demand and all this economics 101 stuff that I don't want to go running off to. But what you're going to see is, I'm going to put in front of you, Samantha, and I know you'll correct me. I think if we see 6.5, you're going to see people just run into the door to buy a property. Okay.
It's going to make it more affordable. Definitely.
So Samantha, if I don't buy today, instead I decide to rent, is that going to hurt me in the long run?
It's an opinion. I do believe it. Well, I believe that if you plan to be in a house 2 to 3 years, it is still a good time to buy.
Yeah, average person stays in their house for 10 years. How much equity are you blowing if you're waiting a year for this magical drop in interest rates or this magical crash in the market, which I'm going to tell you again, because we're doing a short video, is not going to happen.
I don't think so either. I mean, that amount of equity that you're giving up, I can't tell you what that is. It's going to depend on the house. It's going to depend on the loan type. It's going to depend on the interest rate. But that equity you could be giving up could, over a number of years, be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And in the meantime, you paid rent over waiting for the magical interest rate drop, which I would ask when someone says to me, I'm waiting for interest rates to drop, I go, what is that number? Do you know what? They never give me the number.
I remember when the interest rate went back to 3.75. And I had a client who told me, nope, I'm going to wait for them to come back down before I buy. He bought about 6 months ago and ended up buying $200,000 less because it made that big of a difference. The cool thing about interest rates is you're not locked into, well, you're locked into that interest rate, but you're not in jail for 30 years. You always have the opportunity to refinance as long as you take care of your credit and you do the things you're supposed to do. But you always have that opportunity to refinance, and there are better rates around the corner, I do believe.
Right. And I'm a good example of that. The house that I bought, and now let's see, how old is my kid? He's about to turn 19. So I've been in my house 19 years. When I first bought my house, the interest rates were high. And then, here comes interest rates. There was a drop, and we refinanced for a 15-year. And so you're right. I'm not locked in for the rest of my life at 8.25, right? So if interest rates were to drop, but what are we also doing during that time? We're building.
You're building equity,
right?
I mean, you're investing in something that's yours.
So it's not just interest rate payment; it's also equity.
You're building wealth.
Right.
You're absolutely building wealth. But I know we said we were going to do a short video. We totally blew past that. So how do they get a hold of you?
254-495-5661. How do they get a hold of you?
254-624-4307. You can call me or text me, and I'll get back with you.
There you go. Thank you, Samantha.
Thanks, Bill.
Bye now.